Greetings and salutations, and we are back with some more One Talent Challenge. I got the camera somewhat fixed. Prepare yourself. Now, as you can see, that is my room. Very plain. You can see now why I used NVIDIA Broadcast to eliminate it. Because there's nothing to see back here. I talked this big game of, oh, I'm a gamer, I play games and everything. I got a hat hanging on the wall, I got a bed behind me, and I got a lamp back there. I forget that it's reversed in the camera. So I got a lamp back there, and then like a Sensi that my friend got me for Christmas. So that's it. I mean, it's very simplistic. I've got a dresser right off to my left here, and another one over there to my right. I would say I live a more minimalist lifestyle, but we're gonna go back into the game on the One Talent Challenge. Now, I'm gonna have to get used to there being a camera again, and having to make, eye contact and kind of make different eye gestures and different facial expressions. This has been quite a while. What was it, like a month and a half that we had to just do nothing? It was just deadpan. It was me sitting here going, trying to make videos, looking at some of the plays that went on. Especially when I was playing Pokemon Unite. I got so focused when I was playing Pokemon Unite sometimes, and I was just sitting there just. Went all like chimpanzee face. But no, like, I mean, it's. Whoa. It's been a while since we got into this, and it's been a while since I've done this. One of these times I'm gonna have to start streaming. I was gonna do Helldivers 2, but I left my controller downstairs, so the Helldivers 2 will have to wait for another day. Not that I mean, to be fair, Helldivers isn't really a hot ticket anymore, so I don't know how many people would actually watch it. Even if I was to do it, solo. I don't know. I might not. I don't want to get into Marvel Rivals because I'm not a big fan on like superhero games, even though I know it's like Overwatch. I'm still just not a big fan on it. I need suggestions for other games. The freer, the better. I'm just not a big fan of like superhero games, which it's like if Marvel Rivals was not Marvel Rivals and it was just called like Rival Hero Fun Time Smash Face, I'd play it. But unfortunately, it's not. And there's a level of, you know, not a whole lot of people like card games, I've noticed, unless you've become like a big name in card games, like Rarin. I mean, I like him as a personality, you know, when he plays card games and other things like that. And I mean, admittedly he loves card games. So do I. When I'm not having terrible luck. I'm 9% away from completing my Season 1 Battle Pass. I've been grinding about 3% a day. Today was not a good day. I couldn't hit the broadside of the barn if I was indoor with the bar closed, with the door closed, with the barn door closed. Couldn't do it. I mean, I was missing shots like you wouldn't believe. I had the Ames 85 on full auto, sprayed across this guy's torso. The bullets went 1, 2, skipped his torso, 3, 4, 5, and then I got shot. It was bad. Like, normally, I'm gonna pour myself a cup of coffee. Normally, where I'm like really accurate, especially on like Willis snipes and everything, today I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it, and it didn't matter what I used. I used everything. I used pistols, SMGs, LMGs, ARs, marksmans, snipers. Didn't matter. Couldn't hit him. Couldn't hit a soul. I managed to do the dailies, which was like get 50 kills with an AR and get 5 impact grenade kills. And then get 5 headshots in a single game. Now, the 5 headshots in a single game was a tough one because I had to. Oddly enough, I ended up doing it with an SMG on red card of all maps. So I don't know. It feels like there's this lull. You know, it's like feels like there's this lull in gaming where, and maybe it's just me, where there's just nothing out right now, and it's kind of like the doldrums of winter. You know what I mean? Like almost like everybody took a winter hiatus and said, you know what, we're not gonna make anything. Nothing's coming out. Nothing's launching. You guys want a game? You can make it yourself. That kind of thing. Which is why I've relegated to playing certain things like Dragon Quest and Retro Relaxin' and Turmoil, which was free. It's not saying I don't like those games, because I do. I like them a lot. It just feels like there's nothing. It feels like there's nothing out there that's titillating, if that's the word I'm looking for. Actually, let me check, see if that is the word I'm looking for. Because I don't want to. Oh, titillating. No, that's not it. There's a definition. There's another definition. Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, yeah. Pleasantly stimulating or exciting. Yeah, it was the word I was looking for. That was the word I was looking for. Great. Just making sure. One of the definitions is just like, things of an erotic nature, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's not that far, but pleasantly exciting. Yeah, like there's nothing that really has that draw anymore. Like, and I think what it is I think it's a twofold thing. You've got the oversaturation of the game market, where everybody's pushing out another piece of eventual shovelware, because you don't have a whole lot of people like signing on one game to play, like in the Halo days. In the Halo days, like everyone and their grandmother was on Halo, right? If you had an Xbox, you were pretty much on Halo. And if you weren't, what were you doing? I mean, it's kind of like with the GameCube. With the GameCube, everybody that I knew was online playing, like, Phantasy Star online for the GameCube. That is until, like, Brawl came out. And then it was like, yeah, everybody's on that now. So, it was kind of interesting, like, how games have made that not really, it's not even journey, but it's like you used to have like one big game and everybody would ride that wave, and then it would die out eventually, and then they would get on the next big game, they'd ride that wave, and I don't know. It's kind of like Pal World. You know what I mean? A lot of people still play that too. But then again, that offers more than just Pokemon. Where Pokemon is like, I capture them and it's done. Which, looking forward to a couple of things coming up. Monster Hunter Wilds. I will be doing a series on Monster Hunter Wilds. The beta's coming up in February. I can't wait. I thoroughly enjoyed it. What little bit of the beta I played, phenomenal. I'm a big Monster Hunter nut. I have Monster Hunter Generations United on the DS. I have Monster Hunter World. I have Monster Hunter Rise, Monster Hunter Tri on the game on the Switch on the Wii. Listen to me. I'll tell you right now, Try on the Wii, oh, that game was bananas. And I'm glad that Capcom did that. I'm glad they were like, you know what, we're gonna put it on the Wii, and we're gonna use the Wii's interesting control scheme for it. And then they did. Oh man, it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic the way the control scheme worked out. Come on, Deathweaver, quit stealing life with your fireball. In the words of Morpheus in the Matrix, stop trying to hit me and hit me. There you go. Yes, I know that makes me sound old. The whole stop trying to hit me and hit me. Yes, I know exactly how old that makes me sound. Because I know exactly how old I am. I gotta put in stats. Yep, give me the life. Gonna need it. The idea is to get over 1,000 life before leaving Act 5. Don't know if I can, but that's the goal. That's the idea. Because everything's gonna... I'm gonna force everything into melee combat, so... whether they like it or not. See, and I think that's something that... like, I've not played Path of Exile 2, and from what I've heard, that game is absolutely bananas too. That being the case, I'm looking forward to that one too. Mostly because it's free. I mean, anything that has the word free on it, and they say, oh, but it's got micros. Okay, so it's got micros, who cares? Right? And it's like, you gotta take a look at it from the perspective of a company, okay? You're gonna offer up a game that is massively popular and is a live, like, not live action, but live service. You put up a live service game, and if it's like Path of Exile, you sit there and you're like, you know what? It's Path, man. And everybody, there are people out there that will buy this. They'll buy the stuff to get like increased stash space, or they'll buy the stuff to get like cosmetics. Great, great. They're the ones that have funded the entire thing. This is why Diablo 4 flopped, is because they didn't take the Path example. If Blizzard had just decided, you know what, to just suck it up and take the L on the initial cost, and then make everything not battle pass related, but everything microtransactions. Like, oh, you want that cool looking set that's just cosmetic? Here, you can buy it. That's what they should have done. And I'll die on that hill. I will die on that hill, because what it'll do is it inflates the numbers. People say, well, yeah, it's a pseudo inflation of numbers. It's not. Because if you take a look at it, you have tons of people who will sign onto a game if there's... it doesn't matter what it is, like live service or not. They're going to have tons of people signing onto a game that's got players on it. This follows the Vilfredo Pareto... no, wait, that's the Vilfredo Pareto 80-20 rule. It follows the preferential attachment principle. That's what it follows. My apologies. It follows the preferential attachment principle. Okay, the preferential attachment principle is in everything. For example, you know that Giga Chad that gets all the girls looking at him? Preferential attachment principle. The moment one girl starts looking at him and two girls start looking at him, more girls will start looking at him. That's how it works. That didn't portal me down when I clicked it. Everything's been acting weird today. Anyhow, that's the preferential attachment principle in motion right there. And so you have that with games as well. What you have is you have people that are like, oh, I don't know if I should play that game. I don't know if it's got a lot of people on it. And then you take a look at the metrics of the people playing the game, and you're like, wait, there's a lot of people on this game. And there are people that haven't played the game that'll sit down, take a look at it, and realize there's a lot of people playing it, and then they're going to want to play it because, well, there's a lot of people playing it. That's the way it was back in WoW, during the days of WoW. There were other MMOs. You had EverQuest. You had Ultima Online. You had RuneScape, which was free. That's the only reason RuneScape stuck around as long as it did. Is because RuneScape was basically for those that wanted to play a massive multiplayer online role-playing game but didn't have a pocketbook. That's what it was for. And because it was free is what kept its popularity around for all these years. And you had other things like Dungeon Fighter Online. It stayed around. Dungeon Fighter Online's as old as WoW. And it's still going. Gets regular updates and everything. But, again, it's a preferential attachment principle. If the game is free, people are going to look at it and go, well, that game's free, I'm going to play it. Or that game's, cheap, I'll play it. Because people want entertainment, but they want it to be worthwhile. They want to be worth the cost. And a lot of things in this day and age are just not worth the cost. So businesses have gone to the free-to-play model, right? Which sounds terrible. It's like free-to-play when it first came out usually meant pay-to-win or gimmicky. Like, poorly made is a big gimmick. People were like, oh, it's free-to-play. And a lot of companies will switch to that model when a game is dying off. And unfortunately speaking, WoW has not gotten to that point yet, but I feel that's on the horizon. And I mean that. I feel WoW's going to start either dialing back the subscription fee or just going free. Because if it isn't for them constantly relaunching Classic, a lot of the players they'll just dip out. Because you have people that they're all excited for the next raid coming up in retail, okay, until they get it on farm. Once they have it on farm, they raid log. They don't get on and play the game again. There's nothing to pull them back in. The PvP's all but dead. And so you have this weird juxtaposition where it's like, WoW might be losing subscribers because they're not switching over to a free-to-play model. Wait for PoE 2 to hit. I can almost guarantee you that when PoE 2 actually hits the market for everybody to play, you're going to see a precipitous downfall in Diablo players. Both Diablo 2, or all of Diablo 2, 3, Immortal, and 4 players. Maybe not so much on the Immortal side because it is mobile, you can just take it with you. But you're going to see a lot of players just say, this ain't it. And they're gonna take a dive. They're gonna just back out of the whole process. No, I mean, I can't blame them either. I can't. Realistically looking at it, you want a game that's going to be popular. Path of Exile 2 is going to be supremely popular when it comes out. And I mean, like, incredibly popular. Well, that shut him up. I don't know though. Like, I sit there and I think to myself, do I really want to watch the precipitous downfall and demise of a franchise I've known and played for many, many years? And the answer is yes. Yes, I do. Reason being is because of the tone deaf nature. Like, Blizzard went tone deaf with Diablo. Completely tone deaf. And they've done it with WoW. And they've done it with a lot of games, actually. Heroes of the Storm was another one they went completely tone deaf on. And I hate to see it, because Heroes of the Storm was actually a really good game. Despite people, hating on it as like, oh, it's a cheap LOL clone. It was fun and responsive. There was not a whole lot of gimmicks. You didn't have to worry about like having the right item build. Very few toxic players. I mean, there were some toxic players in Heroes of the Storm, but not a whole lot. And that's one way to kill them. The Thorns just doing work. Not even paying any attention to, what they're doing. They just come up, they hit me, and they die. But no, like, Heroes of the Storm had some toxic players, but it wasn't as bad as, like, League of Legends or Dota. Like, every single player in League of Legends or Dota acted as though they were, I'm going to say names that are going to date me heavily. Holy crap. Ready for this? They were comparing themselves to, like, Moonmeander, Angry Testy. These were pro-level players that played Dota, that played Heroes of Newerth, that played, like, they played these games ad nauseum, and they were pro-level players. They went to tournaments and everything, and then Angry Testy went into, coaching, how to coach people how to play Heroes of Newerth. And Heroes of Newerth, to me, was an even better iteration of Dota than Dota. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, that one right there, like, people would say that that's a hot take, but it could be a scalding hot take for all I care. If you played Heroes of Newerth, you knew exactly what I'm talking about. You could still find private servers for Heroes of Newerth, but you don't know what you're signing up for with those. I mean, they had animated taunts and everything. Like, they were ahead of their time. They were honestly ahead of their time. And I think what killed the Heroes of Newerth thing was when it initially came out, it was, oh, you had to buy every hero. And it's like, instead of making them all free and then selling the cosmetics, it was the purchasing of the heroes that really did it. Because other than that, it was, oh, you can go buy all the cosmetics. On all the little, earnable, you can earn the money to do it, essentially. And when you earn the money to get these characters, you could buy those, you could buy the taunts, you could buy bundles, and it was all within gold that you earned in game. Of course, you could purchase the gold with real money, but you earned it for the most part. And when they made it, when they started the game out, it was not, oh, here's the heroes you can play as for free, and here's the ones, like, here's the rental heroes. No, they were just like, you have to buy every hero individually. Not just the new heroes, but the old heroes. And that's what killed them. That's where they eventually went free to play, but by then they had already cooked it. They had overcooked it at that point, and it was done. And it was tragic because that game had better response time than even Dota. And it had items almost identical to Dota. It had a couple of different items in there that were really cool in Heroes of Newerth. Like, they had one where I think it was called like the Blade of Harkin, and you could. It was an activated thing. You could right click it in your inventory so that it would auto cast on every attack. And if you right clicked it in your inventory to auto cast on every attack, it would do additional spell damage, and it would lower their spell resistance. Because you had spell damage, and you had spell piercing. So like it went Heroes of Newerth went hard. And they had things like the Monkey King and Berserker, and they made so many references to pop culture. Like they made a Jay and Silent Bob reference when they brought up Berserker. And it was insane. It was absolutely insanity. The game was, man, you know, one of these times I should find a thing and I should find a Heroes of Newerth video and just react to it. But I don't want to do react videos. Like, I mean, when I used to play as Berserker a lot, so I'd select Berserker and you'd just hear the announcer would be like, "My love for you is like a truck berserker," but it wouldn't say the berserker part. It would just say the first part, which basically was the joke. Is like you're playing as berserker, and then they just stopped doing that, and it took all that little subtle nuance. And it was a shame. It was a shame they did that because it really was like it was what you wanted out of a game. It made references. It played well. The heroes felt different and interesting and ow. Ow. Got him with the thorns. Now we're talking. That was the second cheesiest win behind the druid, but hey, a win's a win. Whether an inch or a mile, a win is a win, and I'll take it. I thank you, mortal, for my freedom. It's like, what do you mean his freedom? It's not like he was trapped there. Why did he not just leave? He's the Archangel Tyrael. He could have just been like, yeah, you see that hole up there? Well, no, there's no hole there, but I'm going to make one. I'm just going to go out. I'm going to throw Eldru in. Ooh, wait, defensive force. This is offensive for it, isn't it? That's offensive. Testicles, it is. I'm not selling it here because it'll probably sell for more. Ooh, wait a minute. Hello. 55 strength, 39 dexterity. Very fast attack speed. I like that. I'm going to put it in here and I'm going to hold on to it because I'm going to wear it. Vidalas. What does my guy have? The one that's dead meat. What is his name? Razan?
Need some help?
Durga. Wow. Shows how much I care. Nova when struck? Oh yeah, man.
That to good use.
Slap that thing on. He'd be throwing out lightning novas of death.
I'm sorry things didn't turn out as you had hoped. Go and remember us fondly. You know, you bothered me far less than most.
Lysander is so based.
Such is always the fate of those who meddle with evil.
Lysander is so based. He sits there, he's just like, oh yeah, you bother me less than most. Dude, I'm gonna become Lysander. I can already see it now. So either Lysander or Deckard Cain. Oh, that's the fate of my life right there. Just to get to be an old man and be like, just so you know, you bothered me the least. And then you just go on, oh, big on.
Greetings, Aaron. Good to see you.
Which, by the way, I don't know about anybody else, but if you get to the point where you're old, and you're, in your 70s, like 75, 80 years old, why not just have a little fun? You know what I mean? Like, order, order a drink, like an iced tea, or whatever. And then, when the iced tea comes, you look at him and you say, where's my coffee? And they'll say, well, you didn't order a coffee, you ordered an iced tea. I did? I wanted a coffee. Okay, well, I'll go get you your coffee. And they go and they get you your coffee and they bring it back, and then you're just like, where's my iced tea? I ordered an iced tea. Why are you bringing me a coffee? They'll think you're senile, but then you leave them a gigantic tip saying, I'm sorry, I was having a little fun at your expense. Here's a big tip to you know, make up for it. It's like, just play along. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get why people don't do that. Well, that's because it's mean. It's mean to the food service industry. Well, okay, yeah, I get that. But at the same time, let's just take a look at it. What if the food service industry gets taken over by AI, and now you have robots delivering your food and your drink? Now you can't have that fun. Now you can't be like, oh, okay, well, let me just have a little chuckle at the expense of my compatriot here. I think that's a fate that's far worse. Because now you're not having anybody laugh with you. You're having you laughing alone. Like, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. If people would say, well, oh no, here comes the AI hate posts. Here comes the AI haterade. AI has a place. It has a place. In manufacturing, it has a place. In construction, it has a place in society. Right? But the place in society that AI has is not in food service. And it could be in turn down service because then the AI is not going to, think about stealing your wallet. Not that that happens all the time, but that it could. And the fact that it could, well, the AI is going to curtail that loss because then it, looks bad on the, looks bad on the hotel or the motel where you are. Nevertheless, AI is not going to do that. But you're going to have AI robotics that you could put into coal mines or asbestos mining, where it's like the jobs that people say, oh, but we need people to do them. Okay, so what if we were to have AI do these jobs that are otherwise hazardous to people? AI doesn't breathe, so it doesn't have to worry about asbestos mining, right? Or like coal mining, or anything of the sort. So, like, if you put it into areas where heavy physical labor and hazardous labor are required, you could take away those jobs and instead have people with like manual override. So they're hired to watch the AI, and then they say, oh no, I gotta take manual override because something doesn't seem right down there. So they're gonna have to be educated people in terms of like what to look for while mining. But then they sit there and they watch what the AI is doing and they say, no, that one, we're going to have an override. And then you have an override switch that shuts off the AI and it goes into pilot mode. And then the people can pilot and mine things specifically. But having that available for the hazardous jobs, that makes sense, right? But you're going to need people in the food service industry. You're going to need that smiling face. Like I was in a Burger King the other day ordering a coffee, right? And when I was in there ordering a coffee, what happened? The manager said something like "okey doke," which she had this persona of the hard-nosed manager, you know? Like the manager that's not really friendly with her employees. She's, I got to keep up this persona, this facade of I'm the boss here. No more play. It's work time, folks. And I understand that. Believe me, I understand that standpoint 100%. But then, with this manager, she said something that was very out of character. And one of her employees is like, "Wait, did I just hear you say okey doke?" And she goes, "No, you didn't hear that. You weren't supposed to hear that. Forget you ever heard it." So, like, that interaction won't happen with AI. That sense of camaraderie, that sense of that story that he can now tell, like, to other people, whether or not it's, coworkers, or whether, like, because some of the coworkers weren't there that day, it's, you get what I'm saying. He could say it to somebody and say, "Well, look, there you go. That's what happened." And that won't exist in a world filled with AI labor. But having it for dangerous labor, for dangerous manufacturing and everything like that, okay, yeah. Or precise manufacturing, okay. Because then you're curtailing the human error. Guy sneezes while he's putting together a microprocessor. Oops. So, having AI in the workplace, in certain workplaces, is one thing. Having it in others is another. I wanted to finish my coffee out of that cup. It's almost 40 minutes, so as soon as I find this next waypoint, I'm going to call it. I don't know. I mean, I get to the point where it's like, I want to inspire. Wow, okay, I didn't even get to swing at those. Yeah, I want to get to the point where I'm inspiring people to do things like, make a business. Like, there's a local card shop that opened up, and I mean, it's been open not very long, and it's turning a moderate amount of profit, and it's got people coming in there, and it's, like, games and hobbies. So, knowing that, anybody can go out there and do it if you have the investment capital in storefront, do it. But you have to find a place where you're going to have traffic. You obviously can't put up like say a pastry shop in, the middle of nowhere America. You're in literally Badlands America, where there's nobody around for 20 miles except the small village you live in, and you put up a pastry shop or an Indian restaurant, right? nobody's gonna eat there. Because you might get the locals, but that's about it. And that's the problem, though. It's like it's harder for small businesses to thrive because whereas a big business or a corporation can absorb the costs of like bulk meat or bulk goods, bulk spices, and so on and so forth, mom and pop shops don't get that. Like, they don't get that same rate. They really don't. Mom and pop shops get they have to pay like near full price for it, and it hurts them. And there's a big competitive edge toward like um, corporations. More and more people are getting away from buying corporate goods, which is great. That's wonderful. Problem is you're eventually going to have to go to corporations for certain things because certain things can't be purchased at a mom and pop shop. But be that as it may, it's going to create this. How do I want to put this? You have two things happening simultaneously, or simultaneously, because there is actually no one simultaneously. You have two things happening simultaneously, which is you have people walking away from corporate um like international corporations, right? Multinational corporations. You have people walking away from them and they're embracing artisan stuff. And then you have other people doing it themselves. They just do it themselves on a whim, they do it for fun. Some people do it as like to keep themselves busy in retirement. And what you're going to have is you're going to have a renaissance. Not just any renaissance. You're going to have a two-part renaissance. What you're going to have is you're going to have a renaissance of individuals creating, right? They're going to be creating artisan things. And then you're going to have a renaissance of the digital sector. And I think I know what the renaissance of the digital sector is going to look like. And people, mark my words, people are going to catch on to this. I don't want to mention it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to mention it. I'm going to mention it right here. You'll hear it here first. The renaissance of the digital sector is going to be people who start ripping off AI artwork. And I don't mean direct rip-offs either. I don't mean they look at a piece of AI artwork, have it drawn up from an AI, and then post it themselves. No. I'm saying they get they get the AI to make the artwork. They use that artwork as inspiration. And then they alter the AI's artwork just enough so that it's no longer AI and it's theirs and theirs alone. And then you're going to have all of these artists who have done like hand strokes on this thing. They take the AI artwork, they put it in an image. What's the word I'm looking for? Image software, like Photoshop or anything else, and they start using like a pen stylus on a tablet, and they start sketching over it, and they start altering it the way they want it altered. They start making minor alterations, and then they just use the rest of the AI artwork, and they say, well, it would look out of place. It's like, yes, but if they're good enough with Photoshop, they can make it blend seamlessly. And I think that's the renaissance that's coming in the digital sector. And then you're going to have people making AI music. The music will be tuned to a specific frequency, and people are gonna love it. They're gonna jam with it because they're like, man, this music just it's there, and it gets into your head, and you love it. You hear it, and it sticks with you, and it sounds good, and it makes you feel good. And then that renaissance of music is also going to be AI generated, but then altered by man. And I feel that that's the next step that's coming. But you're also going to have that physical renaissance of where the actual artists, people like Leonardo, Michelangelo, Van Gogh, uh, not really Bob Ross, not Pablo Picasso, but you get where I'm going with it. Like you're gonna have those Renaissance artists. You're gonna have actual Renaissance artists that are like Beethoven, Bach, Chopin, Kreutzer. Not Kreutzer. Kreutzer was the song. Um, Grieg, Edvard Grieg. You can have people doing that, right? Chopin. I forgot about Chopin. Or unless I said it. I probably said it and then forgot I said it. Wouldn't surprise me. But nevertheless, you're going to have that. You're going to have that renaissance come. It will. But that does it for this video. We made it out of Act 2. We're into Act 3. Thorns is just doing all the heavy lifting, as did with the Druid. But I digress. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I did. And let me tell you, it's weird to have the camera back. It feels weird. I got it working, but only with this, so you're going to see the background from now on. I wished I could do, more NVIDIA broadcasts to eliminate the background so that you could see more of the game in the corner, but Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. I hope everybody has a fantastic evening, a wonderful tomorrow, and as always, have a good one. I'm back to doing this loot again.